We play and call it work.
Hey there, Wargamers, and welcome to the review of Legends of Signum. The Battle for Vallor, which is the starter set.
Such a good game.
That just kind of recently came out. It was really good. So if you haven't watched the game, both Steve and I played, I guess watch it after this or watch it before this and then check out the review.
That too, but I meant the game itself is so good.
It is really, really good. Here is the box right here. We've got it all packed up, sadly, and then we'll crack it out again someday in the future. Will we record it? I don't know. That's
probably about 20 minutes. Give me that.
So he wants to take it and paint all the miniatures. Obviously, the studio sent us painted miniatures, and the box comes with all the miniatures you've seen that we played with. So everything you've seen that we played with, box comes with. Great value. You get enough you need to play right away, and I cannot recommend this game more, especially if you're a fan of... Okay, I don't know. This might be a really niche kind of like... If you're a fan of Magic the Gathering and you've been really wanting to get into war games, this is the one for you.
Okay, interesting.
But I mean, that's not a whole lot of people.
It reminded me of old computer games from the 90s as well, in a roundabout way. But I understand what you mean by the Magic the Gathering card game type thing.
Right, because it's very much as you've seen. If you haven't seen it, you have a hand of cards and you summon your miniatures to the battlefield through building up resources in your town. You need to build your town to be able to play the cards from your hand, and you have to build certain cards for certain buildings based on your cards.
I'll say this. I don't know if this is probably well known, but I'm not a big board game guy. I don't like board games that much. I find that I relatively early on when I buy a game, like I quickly figure out how to play it, and then it's boring.
Right, and that's
not happening with this.
This game is I lost in a traditional. Well, spoiler, sorry, I lost. My bad. I lost in a very typical Magic the Gathering way too, where I overcommitted and I didn't realize the potential that Steve's force had.
Neither did I.
Yeah, exactly. It was just it happened. It worked out perfectly.
I didn't know what Rush was, but in hindsight, that makes sense.
It does make sense. So this game was so good, and I agree with Steve on the board game aspect too. I find if you're at a table with X amount of people that all know how to play this game, and it tends to come down to whoever draws that one card or gets that one piece first.
This is very much a miniatures game.
100%.
That incorporated a sideboard of cards.
Yeah.
Well. I mean, very well.
Incredibly well.
Okay, so the first 4 cards you draw in your hand, whether you mulligan or not, the first 4 cards in your hand are going to dictate the order you start building stuff. So we can take the exact same miniatures, deck. We'll say deck and miniatures is interchangeable.
It's called a deck in this game.
Yeah, so we can take the exact same deck, play another game right after the first game, and it's going to be a different game.
Well, that's the beauty of this kind of a build, right? And like Steve said, you have 2 creatures and 2 different like tactic cards or whatever, and sometimes you're going to build the smithy first, sometimes you're going to build the cathedral first, sometimes you're going to rush the city hall first.
Yep.
And like every game is going to be different.
Which I was forced to do because of the cards. Because the cards, right away I drew nothing but equipment and high-level characters.
And which worked out perfectly too,
in
right?
the end, finally, yeah.
So now in other games where you kind of, if you're stalled on creatures, it's like, I'm not getting any, Steve didn't get any creatures. It didn't matter. He was able to buff up the one guy you always start with enough to keep him alive.
To use Luca's little magic thing, I kept getting enough interrupts and stuff to keep my wizard alive until I got the kill in.
Exactly, and it was just keep healing him in an ulterior way of
I
giving
white
him armor.
and blued until finally my green guy showed up.
Right. Exactly, and it worked out perfectly for him. And it's also nice in the fact that in Magic and other card games, if you get screwed on mana, you can't do anything. The game's a wash. You're never screwed on mana in this game because you always get up to 3 prosperity a turn.
Yeah, I know next turn I'm going to have 1 to 3. Like exactly. I know I'm getting them next turn.
And you can always plan for that. And sometimes people don't like that. They've voiced that opinion. There's other games out there, but I
can understand that. But I know in the one game that we played towards its full game, like when we did the video, I had a plan. I'm gonna not build this turn. Next turn I'm going to build this, I think it was a barrack, and the next turn I'm not going to build for the 3, and the turn after that I'm going to build my big city hall, right? You draw a card every turn,
and
as
interrupts your plan.
And then, oh wait, the plan's going to change slightly different, and I built my city hall a little faster, but like it's not like, so yeah, I know I can plan to get 1 to 3 prosperity, but like it's not like guaranteeing. I know we're going to talk about Magic. It's like guaranteeing how much mana you get every turn. It's different. It's not that close of a comparison. We're just using it as a kind of a joke.
It's the easiest thing to compare this game to. Like obviously, like I don't want to say obviously the mechanic was taken from that, but it's very similar and it's the most identifiable, the most familiar one that
I think for a lot of people,
yeah, 100%. Well, especially mostly for myself and Steve, right? Because you play it and you recognize right away. It's the first thing you think of. But like he said, every time you draw a new card. okay, well, maybe I'm going to do this now, or maybe I'm going to do that now. Maybe I won't summon that character. Maybe I'll try to stifle him, or I need to play terrain now. The terrain's a nice addition as well.
That's so cool. Maybe I'll put rock or trees on the battlefield mid-game.
Yeah, because you've
in fact, they have miniatures for it too. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
the
so
miniatures
you didn't see it here.
are so good.
Yeah, the miniatures are also something to talk about. I don't want to say you wouldn't expect something like that, but
I typically don't expect this quality of miniature from a new type of game. After years of making miniatures, I don't know. Maybe they made something else.
We actually might be ignorant towards that.
Yeah.
As far as we know, Signum Game, signumgame.com, and the Legend of Signum company, the creator, I think this is their first game.
Interesting.
Wow. They've done a good job. Unless they've come from a background of making games.
I feel like people are going to be like, oh, you're just saying you like the game because you're doing a video. No, I legitimately love this game. The rule book is beautiful. The art is beautiful. The miniatures are beautiful. And if you're a fan of MiniWargaming, you've heard me talk about this more than once. I like miniatures, background, rule set, gameplay. Right, miniatures are number one for me, and these miniatures. Like when I first saw these on the counter, I didn't know what they were. So I haven't heard about this actually. Weirdly enough, I'm upset that I haven't heard about it. But I walked by, I'm like, what are these? These are beautiful.
Yeah.
And then today I was going through. We started playing a game. I started going to my phone onto the
right away.
The store. I'm like, oh, they have this. Oh, they have this. They have all. So if you're a miniatures guy first. If you want to just paint first, like these miniatures are beautiful enough just to paint. I'm not even kidding. I went through just the miniatures in the starter set. I'm like, oh, I can play this guy in D&D. I play this guy in D&D.
That's another beautiful aspect.
If you don't even want to play the game, which you should because the game's actually really awesome, the miniatures are amazing.
A huge selling factor, I'd say, because they have a lot of that high fantasy era specific, like the Milady Rosalinda is the perfect female gang leader you could have in like a town, right? She's the kingpin, but it's hard to find a female kingpin model. Perfect.
On a mechanical werewolf thing.
No, like the little.
That one. Yes. The Milady.
The Milady.
The Milady.
Yeah. And then all the other ones can fit into anything. You have your super armored knights on griffins.
The Toby Militia guy with the halberd.
Yeah, Tubbs.
Tubbs.
His name is actually something Potbelly something.
Yeah. Whatever, I'm calling him Tubbs.
And it's like this is like something like a waist belt of honor. It's there's funny little flavor text.
I have to do more research, but like I saw while perusing the store because it's awesome. I was playing. Oh, I can't even say it. The Griffarum? The
Griffarum Empire.
Griffarum Empire. I went and looked at them, and they have like a bunch. Like you can even make it. Actually, I'm not going to say this. I didn't have to do more research, but it looks like you can make your faction to sub factions. I can play just Templars or just the Griffin.
Yeah. So I could the faction I was playing the Vallor, the city state of Vallor. They specialize in having this whole spectrum of different people that live there. But you can choose to skew into like the Guild of Shadows, or I could do the Merchants Guild where it's all like money based or prosperity based and build up my city really quick. Or I could have a bunch of stealth characters that infiltrate around the battlefield. And there's also different leaders too. These are just the starter leaders you have, but there's tons of different leaders you can have in the game as well. And certain cards in your deck interact with only your leader. Again, what you get in this box is perfect to start the game, but you can customize it, well, tenfold. You can go in any direction you want. You can skew into special sub factions, and the buildings you have. There's no limit to how many buildings you can have on the side. You can only build up to 12 buildings, but you can make sure you can always have the buildings off to the side that you need to build. Like one of every of the generic ones, and then one of all the Templars, the Order buildings if you need them, or the guilds if you need them. But if you skew into a certain sub-faction, you're only going to really need the one Templar building.
I love the whole build your town aspect of this game.
Yeah.
Well, it's two games at once, but they're all connected.
It's kind of representing like a very long fight over a period of time, like a build up, like an arms race, and then the final push, like a little maybe guerrilla warfare, skirmishes on the lines here or there. But it's just little models to represent like forces. But it's done really, really well.
So I often play these games and go like immediately I would change something like this, or no, this mechanic's not bad. I'm trying to be like balanced here, trying to criticize something. I got nothing.
I like the beautiful simplicity of it too.
Granted, to be fair, we only played one game.
Yeah.
We also play a lot though, so we kind of I think we got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the beautiful simplicity.
Yep.
It's just complicated, or not complicated. It's just what's what I'm looking for?
Complex enough.
Complex enough. Yeah. Like it. At first, you look at things, I don't understand what everything means. Luca talked to me for about 10 minutes. Like, oh, I get up play this game. Like, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
The rules are well done. The mechanics are, I think, unless we did something wrong, I think the mechanics are beautiful.
Yeah.
Smooth.
Ideally, I'm always a big fan of any new games that come in here, and I try to find the most excited person to kind of pair up with and do the job with. So obviously, Steve was a good pick for this one. He was the most interested. And like at first, like you try to explain at first, like, oh, that's cool, and then the second you start playing, eyes open up, everything kind of makes sense.
I'm mid-30s. I'm like, come on, Luke, here, I want to play. Let's go. I want to play. I'm rocking in my
he's rocking
chair.
in the chair.
Like, I'm like, oh my
play.
god. Then I'm like, oh, I'm an adult. What am I doing?
Yeah, because I'm trying to like
that's
read
rare.
something.
Like we play some fun games, but like,
Yeah.
come on, Luca, I want to play now.
Yeah, like this again. Couldn't recommend this game
Look
anymore.
at the art in this book.
Yeah, it's got that very cartoony, high fantasy.
I love it. That's exactly what I love.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
You turning into stone?
Yep, he's turning to stone. So what you get with this box, again,
A lot of miniatures.
a lot of miniatures. You get 22, because 11 on each side. You have 30 cards to start right away, and a good foundation to build upon as well. You can, if you like both of these factions and you don't want to buy one of the other ones that they offer on the website, then you can just buy the cards and the heroes or the miniatures that you need to go along with that rest of the deck. You can have a deck of 20 to 40 cards. Now, one mechanic that didn't pop up, you know how I mentioned that prosperity? You win if you get 51 prosperity. You're like, that's never going to happen. You're just going to build all the time.
Could.
These games can, I would imagine, that's a counter mechanic to stop people from being passive. But in addition to that, every time you go to draw a card from your deck and you're out of cards in your deck, now in a game like Magic, you automatically lose. But in this one, I would get, or Hearthstone, you take damage. But what was the term when it stacks and doubles every time?
Wow, this is embarrassing.
I know, I can't remember it. Culminative, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Every time you go to draw a card and you don't have a card in your deck, I would gain a prosperity. And then it's the same back way. But then the second card you draw and you don't have a card, I gain 2, and then 4, and then 8, and then 16, and then 32. So once you're out of cards in your deck, you're on a clock.
Oh, it's going, okay.
So how many
cool.
is that? 1, so 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and then that's game. So you're on a 7-turn clock if I have 0 prosperity, if you're out of cards in your deck.
Good.
Yeah. So and then at that point it is that's where there's a time limit if you run out of cards. And like I said earlier, you can have 20 to 40 cards in your deck. Now I always recommend building your deck as little as possible. But if your opponent knows you only have 20 cards in your deck, they're going to play passively. So this is one of the few games that I've seen that maybe it isn't always optimal to put less cards in your deck. You always want the minimum in your deck in these other games because you want the highest chance to draw your more powerful cards. Now that is very true for here as well. And the way you build your deck, if you're curious, half it has to be characters, your heroes. And then I believe that's actually pretty much it. There's another restriction. I can't quite remember. I'll let you talk while I figure this out.
We need to mention that, though, this didn't come with decks that way. Like, it only had 10 characters in a 40-card deck.
It's a 30-card deck with 10 characters. So it should have had...
It's not that far off, but it's not bad. Now, I think one thing that's really amazing at this is you can actually buy this and treat it like a box game if you want. Never buy anything else. And just have this and play with a buddy every now and then or whatever. But what I think is like the most appealing part about that for me is, okay, because the first 4 cards you draw are going to dictate how you're going to play your game for the most part. You're going to play 2 times in a row, and it's not likely going to be the same game. We don't have to switch up our decks or our lists to play the same game differently. So if you're here on MiniWargaming, you probably like miniature wargaming. You probably watch some Warhammer 40k, Warhammer Fantasy. We can play the same 40k list 2 games in a row, and the scenario might be different, but we're going to deploy our entire list, right? Yeah. So this one, you just start doing that. Like I have 10 miniatures on the sideboard, and I never even had 8 of them in the game. Where the next game over, I can have 3 that I didn't have this time, and it's just I'm saying like you can with just these decks, you can play the same game and have completely radically different games every time. And I think it's like the simplicity of that is just it's magnificent.
It is. So I found out you have to have at least half of your characters, and no more of half of those can be mercenaries, which is something you can include in your forces as well. And then the rest can be whatever you want. It can be tactics, relics, or the spell cards. One thing to note, with this box set, I guess if you wanted to play the deck construction properly, you just cut it down to 20 cards and keep 10 heroes. And then you just take out 10 of the relics, spells, or tactics.
I think we'd probably do that next time then.
I guess we probably should have done that, but we just kind of played with what we were given.
It worked. I had no beef with how we played it. Like I didn't get any heroes, but whatever.
It just means you're going to draw heroes less. But as you've seen, you don't need to always draw heroes to win.
So just keep putting on better armor.
Exactly.
Stop hitting me.
The relics are more than feasible, especially with your faction that had a lot of durability-based relics as well.
I wonder how many more I had in my deck. I didn't go through my entire deck or draw them. I was looking at my
Yeah, you kind of just skimmed through it. But like he only played one game before, so he didn't know what all the symbols meant. So he could look at the cards, but I don't know what that.
But
really
that's the thing. Okay, that's interesting. I only played. We played like 3 turns, and then we played a game.
Yeah.
Then we played a full game until its completion.
Right.
And it was like I didn't understand rush, but in hindsight, it kind of makes sense.
Right.
But like it's not so complicated. You're not gonna figure it out. We quickly look at what rush does. Oh, I get how to interact with that.
Right.
It's yeah.
And there hasn't been. Well, in our short time period of playing, there wasn't any weird interactions like, oh, what happens if I do this?
Yeah,
it's all pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, what happens if this situation? Like, there's always we're just used to playing games. There's always obscure scenarios that pop up that could be like, oh, how do you handle that? This is pretty straightforward.
It's pretty basic. Yeah, it's like you move. You can't shoot and move unless you have a rule that says you can shoot and move, and then you can move after you shoot. Sure.
So if we're going to review this, there's something I want to point out. Then there is something that we didn't know how to interact with.
Oh yes.
My character has the rule quick.
So we didn't really touch on that in the game, just because it says quick. Now we weren't too sure what that means. We couldn't find anything online, and we weren't able to get in contact with the producer either. It could be. So usually quick is like quick fire or like what's mine called?
Yeah, quick shooter.
Quick shooter. So quick shooter means I can then move and shoot when normally you're only allowed to shoot before you move.
We're gonna be completely transparent here and be fair with this game. One of 2 things could be this. Maybe we just didn't see it. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case.
Yeah. We could have an oversight on our end.
But, however, maybe we missed it. We looked. We both looked. We couldn't find what quick is. Another possibility is this got sent to us by
the company that made this.
Who does make it?
I think they just call themselves Legend of Signum.
So Legend of Signum sent us this. Could have been an early print.
Yep.
Which they could have changed since.
Quick actually could have been. Well, I guess Rush would make sense because he's never summoned. So I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So there's that. So as a review, maybe if you buy your box, it's different. Anybody who's bought this has come across this video. If you know the answer, though, our guy is on vacation right now. Weirdly enough,
yeah.
But I'm gonna find out. Maybe I'll post in the comments. But yeah, I do have a ability on this card that says quick that I don't know if it's a misprint or leftover from an older edition or older errata or whatever, or just we missed something. But that's the one thing. That's the one thing I noticed in all of this.
It could maybe be it allows them to run and fight without being backstabbed and be able to attack. Maybe, but that wasn't in the rulebook. I'm just assuming what it could be.
Well, or what it could have been at one time.
Right, and they could have just been gone or taken out of the rulebook. Like I said, this game came out. So what? May. So June, July, August, September. So about 3.5, 4 months ago it came out.
The only reason why I'm saying that is because we've had experience with that previously.
Yep.
Having early editions of games, sometimes manufacturers change even minor little things.
Yeah.
So like you might be like lifting your eyebrow. That's not a thing. Actually, it is a thing. It does happen now and then. Yeah. So that's why that's one thing we noticed. But that may not be an issue when this game is available for everybody. Is this available for everybody? Yep. I didn't see it on the. Okay.
Oh, you didn't. Oh wait, the box?
Yeah.
I actually don't know because we kind of got this back when I'm pretty sure this box is available.
When I was perusing the store because I like this game, I noticed that there was a militia kind of like starter set too.
Oh, like so my faction is the militia faction.
Yeah, like you can buy just them, so they're just this whole box.
Yeah, so mine essentially with the militia, then you get what you expect. It's a standing military force that work really well when you have more of them on the field. The potbelly guy, I believe, every time you summon another militia person, he gained +1 permanent attack. And then the other militia lady I had...
Look at the goblin.
I know, the goblin, it's like a goblin riding a book. The goblins are hilarious. The other militia one I had was, she was the cursed mummy lady. And every time that, if I didn't have other militiamen on the table, she would lose the health, but she was pretty powerful already on her own. And she summoned for 1 building, and she was like 2 attack, medium speed, 3 health. And all around, that's a really good character, but she would lose a health every turn unless there's militia already on the table.
Oh, yeah, you can buy it.
Oh, so it is perfect. So it is still available on the website, and it's probably the best way to get in the game, unless you really don't want one of those factions.
You can buy the faction separately, too. You can buy the whole Graffarum Empire.
Perfect. That's the best way to handle it, so I'm very happy they did that. And
Army of the Dead, Luca. Army of the Dead. That's Luca's faction right there.
Oh, they have a friggin' lich. It's Zombies and Knights. Oh, is that Canadian, or is that...
I don't know.
It says probably American.
I know, we're used to that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's American.
It is American? Okay. Yeah. So, like, what does the starter box run at?
$228.80 American.
So
it's not the cheapest.
Okay, yeah, that is not the cheapest.
I'll tell you this, you're not getting cheap. I'm going to look at the plastic. You're not getting cheap plastic here.
Not at all. So, yeah, the plastic
some of the games I have loved come with, like, bad miniatures. Like, they may have good sculpts, but the plastic is cheap. Not here.
No, these are solid miniatures, good bases. You get everything you need. So they're not on sprue either. I think they're all clipped and cleaned already. I don't know if you have to actually clean them or not.
No, you gotta clean them.
You gotta clean them still? All right. But still, good solid plastic.
Is this resin?
I think it is resin, yeah.
Oh, that makes more sense. Yeah. The detail is beautiful.
Yeah, the detail's all there too. So you can put a lot of work into the paint job. You get beautiful looking models that you just played with for 230 American.
Honestly,
pricey,
okay,
but you get a lot out of it.
But the thing is, well, if you look at it as a board game, $228 US, that's up there. But when you look at it as
like a miniatures
game, that's very reasonable.
And usually now again, if you're gonna buy this as like a board game for your to treat it as a board game, you put it on your shelf and just play when people come over. If you want to treat this as a war game, you split that box with someone else. All of a sudden, it's 110 American per side. You get
Not
a full
bad.
force.
Yeah, full faction.
You get all the cards with it too.
For the Holy Graffarum Empire, there a couple of those miniatures aren't just these tiny little. Like the one guy's big. Like even Games Workshop has put out a Griffin model in its starter set, but that thing is a basic detail. It's like it had like 3 parts: a side, one side, left side, and the wings. Like this is fantastic quality, fantastic detail miniature.
Yep, and
for a starter set, not even for just a starter set, just fantastic on its own.
Exactly, and like I said, 110 for 2 factions. You get all the cards, so it's not like you're just getting models. You're getting all the rules, all the cards, the city cards as well. So you get again everything you need to play.
So if you like card games, you're gonna like this. You like miniatures game, you're gonna like this.
Yeah.
If you like if you're just into miniatures on its own, you're gonna like this. You want really cool looking D&D characters, you're gonna love. Go to the website.
Yeah, there's a lot to work with at that website, guys. Anyways, that's pretty much all we have for this review, unless you can think of anything else.
No, I'm gonna go wild play right now.
Yeah, I think we've taken up enough of your time. We will let you get back to your day, and I again highly recommend Legends of Signum. So go and check them out at signumgame.com. You can expect that Steve and myself will be playing more. In fact, I think he's going to go take these models now.
These are mine now.
And probably just going to go ahead and paint those up. Anyways, guys, we'll see you next time. Check out the game if you haven't, and happy wargaming.